What is going on, dudes? And also lady dudes, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today, we're taking a peek at some new cards revealed for Ignition Assault. We got one that was revealed a couple days ago, another Ad Ignister card. Jesus Christmas, that's like 20 in one set. But we got a bunch of random legacy support. We have Chronomalies, gimmick puppets, heraldic, whatever. Sword, I guess Raid Raptors is like the main target for this card, and then a random just like machine support card, but we'll look at that in a little bit. Alright, but we're starting with the Ad Ignister monster because I think it's the least relevant, think I know you might be thinking like, what, the hard team seem pretty good. Yeah. Danyaribo Ad Ignister is a level 1 Dark Cybers effect monster with 300 attack and 0 defense, and each of this card's effects are hard once per turns. First effect says, during damage calculation, when your Ad Ignister monster is attacked, you can discard this card, and you take no battle damage from that battle. Ugh. Second effect, when an Ad Ignister monster effect or an AI spell or trap card that inflicts damage to your opponent is activated. Quick effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard as cost to double the damage your opponent takes from it. Terrible. This card's terrible. We're moving past it. I'm fine because I thought a lot of the Ad Ignister stuff was good, and too much good is going to be bad. So let's go ahead and X that out. And next up, we're looking at Chronomaly Tuspa Rocket. Classic Chronomaly artwork. Just like a weird space rocket, but it's Chronomaly, so it's weird. Whatever. It's called what it is. It's a level 4 Earth Rock effect monster with 1,000 attack, 1,000 defense, and both of its effects are hard once per turn, as per usual in 2019. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send a Chronomaly monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, then target one face-up monster on the field as cost. Until the end of the turn, that monster loses attack equal to the level of the rank, the level or rank of the monster sent times 200. So pretty much just a quick foolish burial, and then if your opponent doesn't have something to lower, you're just going to lower your own, and then you're going to make an XZ with it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Second effect, a number monster that is XYZ summoned using this card on the field as material gains this effect. This card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. That's a nice little bonus effect. Most of the time you're going to be going into XZs. I feel like the biggest problem with this deck, and I don't know a ton about it, is that most of the XZs are like pretty underwhelming as far as XZs go. Like, really thinking about what qualifies a good XZs monster in 2019. We're looking at, Dingirsu. We're looking at stuff like, Hope Harbinger. We're looking at stuff like Time Thief Redoer. Like, all pretty good cards. None of the Chronomaly XZs really hold up to that. So it's a nice engine piece for them, but I don't think the end game is quite strong enough for Chronomalies to actually be pretty relevant. It doesn't have restrictions on what particularly, it doesn't stop you from being able to make specific stuff, so you could make a generic rank 4 or something just for free with this card, but it's alright. It's a nice card for the archetype, but the archetype definitely needs more. Next up we have a gimmick puppet card called Condolence Puppet. Okay. It's a normal spell card. You can only use each of its effects once per turn. First effect, send gimmick puppet monsters with different names from your deck to the graveyard up to the number of monsters your opponent controls that were special summoned from the extra deck plus 1. That means if your opponent had 1 extra deck monster, you could send 2. If your opponent has nothing on the field and you're going first, this is just a foolish burial for any gimmick puppet monster, which is not that bad, honestly. And then the second effect says you can banish this card from the graveyard, then target a machine XZ's monster you control as cost. That monster cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects while face up on the field. A little bit slow. I wish it was more of one of those effects, like if a machine XZ's monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you could banish this instead. That would have been much cooler, in my opinion. And maybe this is, I don't know. The fact that it's proactive is not great. in my opinion. But still, overall, I think it's a good card. I think Gimp Puppets, if I remember correctly, do a lot in the graveyard, and this is an opting second deck, which means you have the possibility with this card of theoretically being able to Foolish Burial 5 cards if you're playing into a board, and this may probably definitely bait and negate from your opponent, but you know, that's 1 for 1. Taking an Omni Negate away from your opponent isn't half bad, but yeah, pretty cool. Next up, we have Heraldry Charge, a heraldic spell card that can only be used once per turn. Tribute 1 monster for cost. Any monster, pretty generic, which is nice. For the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck except for Psychic or Machines. Also, special summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck in defense position, not negating their effects. No other restrictions. You just trade this card and any one monster you already have on the field for 2 Heraldic Beasts straight from the deck. Now, I don't know too much about the Heraldic Beasts. They were pretty bad even in the era that they were created in, but they're cool beast-type monsters and beasts and wing beasts and stuff. And as far as I remember, they kind of have the same problem as Chronomaly in that their end game is not so strong. I mean, should they have some powerful Xyz monsters to go into, this card becomes very interesting. But because they don't, it's just kind of like, eh. So, I don't know. We'll see. But it's a nice card. It really is. I mean, it's super ashable, but outside of that, pretty nice card. Trading in any monster for 2 Heraldic Beasts is a nice turbo card for sure. Next up, we have a trap card designed for, I believe, Raid Raptors? I don't know. We'll see. It's a continuous trap, and on activation, or not on activation, but while it's face up, all Xyz monsters you control gain 800 attack. Cool. And then, for the effect that matters the most, once per turn, you can discard a spell card. Interesting. Then target an Xyz monster you control, both of those for cost. Then you special summon from your extra deck 1 number C or CXYZ monster with the same type as the target you targeted, but 1 rank higher by using that target as material. But if you activated this effect by discarding a spell that was not a rank up magic spell, return the summoned monster to the extra deck during the end phase. There's a lot going on there, but I believe there could be some specific plays. I'd have to look a little more in depth. This is more first impressions here, but it's a pretty interesting card. This seems like a possible card where, should you open this and like specific ways, I mean, this just kind of reminds me of like zexal lock type stuff. Like this could be a possible thing that could just get you into a busted Xyz monster that can just really do some damage to somebody. But it is a little specific, making it so you can only drop down a number C or a CXYZ off of it. But who knows? I believe this is mainly geared for Raid Raptors. I believe they use the rank up magic spells the most out of any archetype, or one of them that uses them the most. That's just the first archetype that came to my mind. But it's an interesting card. If this card ever becomes legitimately relevant, it'll be for like something specific where like you would just drop down some insane Xyz that's going to win you the game by itself. Something like that. That's the only way I really see this card becoming super, super used in any way. But interesting to say the least. We'll see what kind of niche uses it has. And the last card we have here is Arcjet Lightcrafter. Pretty cool, just big, almost Star Wars-esque, space cruiser type stuff. It's a level 9 light machine effect monster with 0 attack, 2100 defense, and its second effect is a hard once per turn. If you control no monsters, you can normal summon this card without tributing. Okay, it's normal summonable. Not a terrible start for a big monster. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can target 1 level 8 or lower machine monster in your graveyard for cost. Special summon that monster in defense position, but its effects are negated and it becomes level 9. Third effect, you cannot special summon monsters from the deck except machine Xyz monsters. The way that's worded, it pretty much means like while this card is facing on the field, you can't do that. So it doesn't lock you into that for the rest of the turn. But it means, like, you're going to normal summon this as your normal summon. You're going to hope that you already have a machine in grave already. Revive that, make them both level 9s, and make a rank 9 machine. Now, I know there's a couple rank 9 machines, but I'm not sure if they're good enough to where if they are your only play, like your play is just make one of those, and that's it. I'm thinking they're not strong enough, but it is an interesting card. There's a lot of machine support. This is fairly generic, and I think it maybe could have space in a, a weird machine type deck. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work with trains because trains are a rank 10 base deck, so this doesn't really fit that mold, but who knows? Maybe there will be some avenue where this card can be useful. But that's pretty much it for today, guys. Bunch of different support cards for old Zexal archetypes, XYZ archetypes, but not bad. I mean, I don't think it's anything crazy. I don't think it makes any of those decks straight up meta. But, it's nice to see. I think there's a ton of old archetypes that could use support, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. If they can throw one card here and there for a bunch of archetypes, slow and steady catch a bunch of archetypes up, and, maybe we end up somewhere with those decks. Who knows? But this is a start. But, guys, that's pretty much it for me. Thank you so much for watching the video here. Let me know if I missed anything specifically about any of these cards. If you are specifically a savant of heraldics or gimmick puppets or Raid Raptors, or what was the other one? Chronomalies. Definitely let me know down below if I missed anything specific about those cards that could be super relevant. But as far as me today, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.